Hey, what's up, everyone? This is Jdog from Jdog'S DVD Dungeon, bringing you part 2 of my Psycho 2 review for Squid Flicks movie marathon. We're doing a Psycho Mother's Day marathon. So yeah, if you were watching part 1, I left off when the young couple was killed in the fruit cellar in Norman's basement. You had the young girl, she escapes, and she goes to get the sheriff. She brings them back, and they're questioning Norm, like they want to check out the fruit cellar, want to snoop around the place a little bit. So they go down there, and they notice that the fruit cellar is surprisingly too clean. It's well organized and stuff. So they're asking Norman, like, have you been down here since you've been released and whatnot? Normie's starting to get a little nervous because he knows he hasn't been down there. But you get Mary, she tells the cops, she's like, oh no, it was me. I was down here. I cleaned it up for him. I've been doing some things around the house since I'm staying here. Sheriffs are a little like suspicious. They're like, are you sure? They're like, well, where were you this afternoon, Norman? And she's like, well, he was with me and this and that. So good enough. He's got an alibi. There's no evidence of a crime taking place. So they leave, and after they leave, Norman, he's all confused. He's asking Mary, well, why did you lie? Why did you lie to the sheriff, Mary? She's like, well, they were going to take you back to jail, Norman. And you can tell Norman, he's starting to get all nervous, and he kind of has a mini nervous breakdown here as he's telling Mary. He's like, I think it's all starting to happen again, meaning like the murders and everything. So yeah, like you start things keep continuing. Like Mary, she goes to have a shower. It's a nice steamy scene. Like you get see little TNA from Meg Tilly. She has a feeling she's being watched through the peepholes. Like she notices that there's peepholes set up in the house. So she goes and she calls out to Norman because she figures maybe it's Norm that's peeking on her. And he comes around a corner from downstairs. She's all nervous. She's like, well, alright, that couldn't have been Norman. So she goes to her room, and she's been carrying a gun with her, I guess. She starts looking around the house and checking the house and whatnot. I don't know, this part, I kind of felt sorry for poor Norman because he sees her with the gun, and you could tell his feelings are hurt and stuff. And he's like, that's because of me, isn't it? And he asks her, and she's like, oh, no, like, I just carry this. But yeah, she checks the house out, and Norman, he goes upstairs to use the bathroom, and notices there's some stuff in the toilet, so he goes and he flushes it, and all of a sudden it backs up, and you got the blood pouring out of the toilet. You got a bloody rag, blood coming up through the pipes. Norman, right away, he starts to panic. Like, he figures that's the rag that was used to clean up the fruit cellar, and he's like, I killed that boy, I gotta call the sheriff and stuff. And Mary, she starts to talk him down. Well, no, Norm, it couldn't have been you. Like you were locked up in the fruit cellar and stuff. So like Mary, she's kind of getting suspicious. So she goes down to the hotel to check things out, down in the motel part. And this is where we get a big plot twist in this movie. Like, things start to get interesting here, because she's down there in the parlor, and all of a sudden you see Lila Loomis down there. And this is where you find out that Mary and Lila, they're mother-daughter. Like, they're the late Sam Loomis, like Marion Crane, that was Sam's lover. Then in the first one, I guess her sister must have got with Sam. Like, throughout the whole ordeal, I guess they must have hooked up, and they had a daughter. But I guess the mother-daughter, they've been the ones that have been fucking with Norman, trying to make him crazy, trying to get him back into the institution and stuff. But Mary, she's telling her mom, well, it couldn't have been Norman that killed that boy. Like, he was locked up. She's like, well, whatever, whatever gets him back into the nut house, it's all good. But Mary, she's starting to have second thoughts. She's starting to feel bad and stuff. Like, she's telling her mom, like, you gotta stop this and whatnot. But anyway, you have Dr. Raymond. He kind of figures out what's all going on. So he goes and tells Norm, like, who's been messing with him. And just to prove this to Norman, they go and dig up his mother's body to prove that she's still there. So, not being satisfied still, because Norman's still getting these phone calls and stuff, and he's starting to go crazy really fast. And yeah. And like, there's more phone calls, and so Mary, she finally has enough of this. She goes down to confront her mother at her hotel, and they get into an argument in the bar. The bartender, she overhears this and whatnot, and Lila Loomis here, figuring she has Norman like right on the brink of breaking down and going crazy again, she rushes over to the house quick, like, 'cause she has hidden in the fruit cellar. She's got this Mrs. Bates outfit. She's got the dress, the wig, the knife, and stuff, and she's getting it all put on and stuff. But as she's doing this, we had Dr. Raymond followed her. Like, he's wise to all this, so he's watching the house as she's in there. But as she's putting it on, she hears this noise. She turns to the side to look, and as she sees something, and she screams. And as she screams, she gets stabbed in the mouth with this butcher knife. This is a really cool kill scene because the knife's coming out the back of her head. And then, he takes her out. So she's gone, like, killed by Mrs. Bates and Norman. We're still not sure yet who's doing this. But then you have, Dr. Raymond. He notices she's been in there a little too long, so he goes in to check things out, and he's snooping around the house. And you have Norman come up behind him and like, hey, what are you doing here, Doc? They have a little conversation. He shows him nothing down in the fruit cellar, so the doc, he leaves. And then, in the meantime, we find out that Mr. Toomey's car had been found in the swamp. Yeah, Norm likes to dump everything in the swamp, so right away, Mary hears this, and she rushes back to the hotel, because she's starting to feel sympathetic towards Norman, like, figures he's innocent and stuff. So she's like, Norman, we got to get out of here, like, run away with me, they're going to come arrest you, like, they figure you killed Mr. Toomey, and this and that. And as she's doing this, they get another phone call, and this is Norman's mother on the phone again, and she starts telling Norman, like, you need to kill Mary, and Norman's like, well, yeah, she's here with me, no mother, I don't want to hurt Mary and stuff. So she gets all freaked out. She's like, holy shit, maybe it is Norm that's been doing this. So she runs down to the fruit cellar to grab the outfit. She puts it on, figuring she can trick Norman, saving herself into thinking that, like, Mary's his mother and stuff. She goes up, and it ain't having no effect on Norman. So she goes upstairs to try to talk to him through the phone. And as she's upstairs, Dr. Raymond, he's creeping around the house, and he comes up and grabs her from behind, probably to tell her, like, shh. And she turns around and stabs him. Well, he falls down, and then all hell breaks loose. You have Norman starts following her around, like, telling her, I didn't mean to hurt you, I didn't want to hurt you, and I'm always having to cover up for Mother. I always hide what Mother does. And Mary, she's freaking out. She starts to poke Norman with the knife. She's stabbing him in the hands, in the chest. Norman grabs the knife, pulls down his hands, cuts them all up, and they're down into the fruit cellar now. Norman has her backed in there. And as this is happening, Norman, he trips on some coal, and it exposes Lila Crane hidden in the coal. So she's like, oh shit, Norman killed my mom. And just as she's about to take Norman out, because he had tripped, the cops, they bust in. They shoot Mary. And so we start to think, well, maybe this is what happened. It was Mary that was crazy, possibly. That's what the cops are all figuring anyway. Like, right up until the end, she was the one saying Norman was crazy, and yet it was her, they're all thinking. So we have another plot twist here. We have Norman, he's released from the hospital, he goes back to the Bates Motel, all bandaged up and stuff, and you have him making some tea. He has a table set for two, and he has a knock on the door, and who happens to show up at the door but old Mrs. Spool that worked at the cafe with Norman. She comes in, they have coffee, and this is where it's revealed that Mrs. Spool is actually Norman's real mother. I guess she had him when she was young, and she went to the mental institution herself and had only been released a few years, had mental problems and everything. And she had been the one doing the murders, I guess, and trying to look out for Norman. Well, Norman, this is all a lot for him. He's taking it all in, and they're having a nice little conversation. And then out of the blue, Norman picks up a shovel, whap, right across the back of Mrs. Spool's head. She's laying on the floor, twitching and stuff. You got Norman, he picks her body up, takes her upstairs, eh? He's got Mother back again. This time it's real Mother. Sets her up, and this is where the whole thing starts again. You start to hear Norman talking in her voice, and they're having a conversation. And then you get the end of the movie where you have Norman standing out in front of the Bates Motel, opening it up again. You could hear his mother talking to him from up in the window of her room. But very cool movie. I'm almost out of time here, but I really enjoyed watching it twice. I'm sorry the review ran so long. I don't know, I recommend you see it if you're a fan of psycho films, a fan of horror suspense films from the 80s. But thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed. This is Jdog for Squid Flicks. Peace out.